Hey, what's going on, Facebook fam? I want to welcome you all to another edition of the Late Night Gym Sesh. Hope you all have had a very wonderful day. It's hard to believe that we are at the very end of 2020. Today is the very last day. It is December 31st. And, I know we all look back at this year and a lot of us feel that it was the worst year ever. But I don't know, as I look back, I just feel like there was so much to be just overjoyed about, to be thankful for. When I look back at this year, a lot of some of the biggest highlights of my life happened this year alone, at times when I didn't expect. And you think so many times about life in general, all the things you hope for, you pray for, just wish for in general. And I just at times felt frustrated. Like when I think about my love life, my relationship life, there were so many times where I just felt like it was never going to happen. Like maybe I was just destined to be single forever. And I certainly didn't think that this year was going to be the year for that to end. But that's exactly what happened. After 13 years, first time in my adult life, first time since high school, I have a girlfriend. She's wonderful too. We've been together for almost 2 months now. We're supposed to see each other tomorrow. She's amazing. And I look forward to just the future we have together. I think we're going to have a great relationship. I'm already just enjoying everything that's happened, and that was unexpected. She was one of the last people I expected to be in a relationship with. But it just goes to show you just never know, and some of the best things happen when you least expect it. And then in the summer, getting to work American Ninja Warrior, a month-long project I got to do with them. That's the first time I've ever gotten to do a month-long project of any kind of video in my entire journey. Never gotten to do anything a month long, and I just think if I was living a normal life and doing my normal jobs, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. I don't think I would have had the availability to do it. So I think another thing too is just really getting to be in the Bible a lot more. Honestly, you see the Bible verses I often post on my Facebook story and sometimes on the news feed too. And truth be told, a lot of those verses I post, some of them I'm seeing for the very first time, and I see them and I'm like, whoa, that explains exactly what's going on in my life. Or, oh man, I encountered a situation like that. And so I post them a lot, for my fellow Christians, but also even for people who've never read the Bible or aren't really into, Christianity. It's just an opportunity for them to see how relevant the Bible still is in our lives now. And that's something I didn't, just throughout my journey. I've been a Christian, a serious one, for about 8 years now. But I didn't really start taking the Bible seriously at all till about 6 years ago, and even more so about 5 years ago. But I didn't start reading it consistently until about summer of last year. And this is probably the first year I can say I've read the Bible at least once or twice every week in a whole calendar year. Actually, on my Bible app, where I get a lot of those verses from, I've been in that app for 44 weeks in a row now. I didn't really discover it till I think probably January or February. And so I've been in it every week. You think about there's 52 weeks in a year, and only 8 weeks in the year I wasn't in that app. So that's impressive. And I just think about when the year began, when the pandemic began, and the Zoom chats I got to have with my friends Luke, Dana, Joe, and Brendan was another one. And it was just cool just to fellowship every Friday night, even though we couldn't really leave our homes and do the things we normally did. It was cool just to still feel like I had friends to gather around with and hang out with and just enjoy life and talk about faith with. And what else? It just everything. Getting to just discover or rediscover old talents. Like I got to do a lot more video editing this year. I hadn't done anything like that in about 2 years. I was very good at video editing initially, and then I just kind of fell away from it. I kind of just got into a place where I just enjoyed doing the video work that I was doing, where I just show up to an event, do camera work, and then leave. But video editing is such a great skill. It's such a great skill to have, especially during a pandemic, because when you get bored, hey, let me just try to create a video. Even gotten into a little bit of music making too on my GarageBand software. So there's just so much. And I think another thing is just getting to catch up on my thoughts. When I think about my relationship I'm in now, after so many failed opportunities, after so many times where, I've pretty much dated every year since high school. At least I've had somebody at some point or another who I was kind of towing that line with, but never completely actually crossed the boyfriend-girlfriend line with. But it was just cool to just reflect on past mistakes, areas where I went wrong and areas where I could have done better. And so when those opportunities presented themselves again, it was just cool to reflect and be like, okay, hey, because when we're doing our normal life, when we're working, when we're doing our activities and all that craziness, we don't think about life a whole lot. We don't think about the past. We're always so caught up in the moment. And that was definitely true of my life. So it was cool to just really just sit back and reflect and think about missed opportunities and just think about, okay, what can I do differently when we get back to normal again? What can I do differently so that that doesn't happen again? And so I hope that, you all just, really took the time to just reflect and just think about things. I think we always say when we get back to normal. But I know for me, I don't want to get back to normal. I want to establish a new normal. I want to go into 2021 just ready to just to continue to do big things, faith-wise, career-wise, in my newfound relationship, everything. I don't want to go back to normal because normal just means stagnant and doing it just business as usual and really no progression whatsoever. For me, I want every year, as long as I'm alive, to be me being better than I was the previous year. And that's always, I think I always feel like I take the last 3 months. I always feel like the last 2 or 3 months kind of say a lot about what the following year is going to be like as far as our own individual lives. That's kind of a trend I've noticed in my life over the years, that how the last couple months end, how the last couple months go is kind of sets the tone for what the next year is going to be like. And it ended with a lot of video work. I felt like in 2019 I kind of put a lot of that on the back burner. I think I got lazy. I had such a great year in 2018, and I just kind of expected that it was all going to just be the same in 2019, and it wasn't. And so I kind of just looked and I'm like, man, I think what really woke me up was not only the Blues making the Stanley Cup and me not being able to take part in it on the media end of it, even though I still got to be a part of it. It would have just been so much better to be on the media side of it. But I also say that it was still a blessing to get to work as part of the Enterprise Center staff and get to have an amazing crew of people to work with. Those guys are like family to me. And so I couldn't have picked, if I couldn't work it on the media end, I just couldn't pick a much better crew to work with. And then also when the Cardinals made the playoffs and seeing people who I had recently done some video gigs with, getting to be on the field working on the media with TBS and whatever other networks were broadcasting the playoffs. And, some of which were actually my production assistants during an event that I often shoot in the fall called Bands of America. And what the production assistant does is they're the people who get water and food and things of that nature for the camera people. They're kind of like, I don't want to say like this, but they're almost kind of like your servant in a lot of ways, So it's kind of, it was weird to see them getting to do some big gigs like that. And it's like, dang, they were just my PA, my production assistant last week. So that was a wake-up call. And I actually ended the year getting to work tough as nails. I got to do a couple of days of that. And so it just definitely set the tone, even though we had a long gap. I started the year actually working at an event in Nashville. It's like a 10-day event. And that was amazing. That's still one of my fondest memories. It's so weird to think about a year later and just where we were at. Just that 2 months after that, we'd all be wearing masks and in our houses and like working that event. It was, just not seeing anybody in a mask. It was still like you saw someone in a mask and it's like, wait, why are they wearing a mask? Now we're all doing it. So it just goes to show how much life changes. But, through it all, it's been a very blessed year. And it's just a reminder that God has a way of, even in the worst of situations, taking those situations and turning them into good. And so when I look back at 2020, yeah, it's been a crazy year, but I'm going to still look back at it pretty fondly as far as my own life is concerned. It's tough for a lot of people who've lost loved ones, and I've lost a few myself, and then, of course, Kobe dying and Chadwick Boseman. And I'm a wrestling fan, so we just recently in the wrestling community lost a guy named Brody Lee or Luke Harper. Luke Harper was his name in WWE, and now he wrestles for All Elite Wrestling, AEW, and he was Brody Lee. And he was, as recently as 2 months ago, on TV and was actually a champion. And he passed away actually the day after Christmas, so last Saturday. So yeah, it's just been crazy. It's just a reminder that we gotta really value those around us, value everybody. Your friends, your family, because you just never know. You just expect that they're going to be here the next day, but this year definitely showed us that life is precious and it can come and go in an instant. And so definitely, every day when I pray, I always thank God for another day. But more than ever now, I'm definitely more thankful for these days than ever because, I mean, think about this. As crazy as the year has been, we're here. It's December 31st, and when we cross over to January 1st, you can say you've made it. So many people can't say they've made it. So that's a blessing in and of itself. So really, don't just think that just because 2020 is over that everything's just gonna go back to normal. We gotta make a new normal. We gotta really take a look at our own lives and be like, okay, well, how can I be better? What happened in 2020 that I could have done better to make sure that I have a better 2021? Life is a team. We're like, when you think about us as a world, think about us as a nation, as a community. We're a team, and how we behave can inspire other people in a good or a bad way. And I always hope, I tried to post a lot more on Facebook this year just because there was so much negativity. And I, if nothing else, wanted people who were scrolling by or looked at my stories to look and at least see one good thing, and hope to inspire other people, hey, to do the same, to go, post something positive, to post something uplifting. So yeah, that's what we can do in 2021 is just take a look at ourselves in the mirror and just be like, okay, well, what could I have done better, and what do I want to improve on here in 2021? So I'm looking forward to what the year brings. I just still want to focus on December 31st because we still have one more day of this year, and January 1st is not promised. 2021 is not promised to any of us. So let's take this day to value our lives, to value this one last day in 2020, and let's make the most out of it, and let's get ready for big time 2021. So hey, I'm definitely up for the challenge, and I hope the rest of you are as well. So that is the late night gym sesh. I'm getting ready to head out. I had a very, very intense chest and tricep workout. One of my big goals for 2021 is to just get back in better shape. It's crazy because I actually lost a lot of weight at the beginning of the pandemic. I actually was the lowest I'd been in about 4 years. I was down to 194. And then once we started to open back up again, I, as recently as last week, shot all the way up to 225 pounds, which for my height is not very good. That's obese, actually. And I'm not going to chalk it up to that much muscle because I'm not, I have a lot of muscle, but I don't have that much muscle. There's definitely a lot in the gut. So I'm looking forward to getting back in better shape and being able to move better, because another thing with my movements is I would get winded very quick just going up the stairs. And so yeah, 2021, I want to get back in better shape, be stronger than ever, be quicker than ever. And it's definitely, it makes a difference when you're in shape for sure, mentally and physically, every way. So that's one big goal of mine. So yeah, whatever goals you have in 2021, make it happen. I think the biggest thing is we got to get up and do it. When you have it on your mind, do it. Complacency is one thing that it's a killer. I've been complacent far too many times in my life, and that's something I want to really cut back on here in 2021, God willing. So, like I said, you all have a blessed day. Have a wonderful December 31st, and let's gear up for 2021. I'll see you on the other end. Have a good night.